No, Bodie, are you alive?
Um,
Say hello to Bodie. That's Bodie. He's a Bernese mountain dog. He's big block. He's 160 pounds and he comes with me to class and stuff. So he's around a lot. You'll get to meet him. He's very sweet.
he is very sweet. Um, so Bodhi says welcome. Dorian says welcome when I say welcome. His name's Bodhi. This is the most important thing, important question of the day.
Yeah,
The dog's name is Bodhi. He's always around, waddling.
yeah.
Um, so welcome everyone. We're really excited. We're just wanted to wish you another congratulations. You've been admitted to next year's class of BioE MEng. And we're just going to go over a few different things today to try to help you gain awareness and more knowledge of how the program works so that you can make an informed decision come April 15th. Um, so I'm sure you might have attended some of the other events that the Fung Institute has put on, or we might even be seeing some of you on Friday in person, possibly. Um, but this is just one part of the welcome. So we just want to welcome you. So today, wanted to let you know who your MEng team is in bioengineering. So you have Dorian. I should
Yeah,
just put a picture of Bodhi.
yeah, you should put a picture of Bodie.
Um, so we have Dorian, who's our faculty director for MEng and knows everything Cal, knows everything BioE, knows everything Bodhi.
Yes.
Uh, Myself, my name is Joy, and I'm your student affairs officer within the department, or the program manager, whatever you want to call me. I'm here
And
to
provides
support you
adult
within
supervision.
BioE. Yeah.
Adult supervision for anything I do. Yes.
Um, Also, you'll see our chair is Phil Messersmith. He's the chair of our department, and Jana Conway Hamilton. She's my boss, and Dorian's boss, and everyone's boss. She's the money one.
Hmm.
Um, so not only do you have a team at Bioengineering, you also have another team of support at the Fung Institute, and there's a lot of people there, so you can tell. Um, Even though this picture is a little old, so is the picture on their current website, so I just went with it. Um, so you have a team of people within the department, and then a team of people at Fung, and we're all here to help support you throughout the year. So not only do you have like two groups of people looking out for you, you also have two homes on campus. So you see on the building on the right, that's where my office is located. That's in Stanley Hall. And then the building on the left is Mudd Hall, and that's part of the Fung Institute, which yeah, wanted to show you that you have a lot of places where you can sit down on campus.
And meet and do things. This one's actually a little
Hmm.
bit farther, a little bit away from campus, but it's in a beautiful spot because you overlook the bay.
Yeah, you do get a view of Golden Gate from Mudd Hall,
Hmm.
not my office. So, uh, also want to just let you know that there's different ways to communicate with us. And so it can kind of get a little tricky, right? Dual groups of people supporting you, dual homes on campus. You have the Fung Institute, and then you have the department. So you have both of those email addresses also, the Fung Institute at Berkeley and the BioE MEng at Berkeley. Um, and if ever in doubt and you just know that there's too many things going on and you just want to email one person, you can just email me and I'll help you get your question answered. So whether that gets directed to a different resource on campus or I answer it directly, that way you don't feel like you have to go somewhere for specific things. You can just come to me and I'll help you navigate the plethora of resources that Berkeley has to offer. So I'm sure by now you've also seen the admitted student website. because that's how you found this event. And you have, if you're an international student, you also have support in probably receiving emails shortly from the Berkeley International office. And then if it hasn't been provided to you yet, there's a current student and alumni directory. So if you have questions and you want to reach out to certain folks, um, and current students and alumni have opted in to provide their perspective of the program. So there's that as well.
Also,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just put
And
up my
Dorian
cell
put
phone.
his cell phone in the chat, so feel free to text him
Or call me.
or call
Actually, if
him.
you go on and even if you go on the Berkeley directory, you'll see my cell phone number there. I'm not
Yeah,
as good as Joy with email, so I'm sometimes slow on email.
you'll notice that throughout the year if you come. You'll ask me how to get a
Always,
hold of
yeah,
Dorian, and then
oh,
the answer is
always
his cell phone.
yeah, copy Joy.
Cell phone or his calendar.
Hmm.
But Dorian is one of the most student-centered faculty members, so you guys are really lucky that he's our faculty director.
Just I can't do email, but there are other things that do well.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have Bodhi.
And Bodhi.
Mhm.
Um, all right, so our agenda today is just go over briefly about the finances because there's always a few questions about that. Um, so I'll go over that. Dorian will go over our curriculum, and then we're going to get to know each other a little bit. There's not actually too many of us on this call, so we'll probably break into a few different breakout rooms just to get to know your current cohort so you guys can chat with each other, ask each other questions of what they're thinking about what program to go to next year and that sort of thing. And then come back and do like a huge Q&A with everyone and answer everyone's questions, hopefully. So that's our agenda for the day. So let's dive in. So all financial awards have now been um, distributed. Dang it. Did my thing just go away by the Fung Institute?
No, it's still there. But
Am I sharing the screen still there?
yep, still see it.
Oh, that's cool. I just can't see it.
Okay.
Cool. Um, so
Now restart it, Joy.
yeah, you can't, it's probably, can you see, does it change? No,
No, it might be frozen.
it's totally frozen.
Not totally, because we still see one page, but yeah, it looks kind of frozen.
Okay, we will continue on and start again. I wonder why that's the case. I think it's Google Slides in the private window. All right. So all the financial awards have been distributed so far. So if you had any questions about whether you were going to be receiving an award, they've all been doled out. There is a waiting list for opportunity grants, and that's for financial need. And I just put that form in the chat. So in case you are still looking for more aid, or didn't receive any and you have financial need, but maybe didn't fill out that part of the application when you applied back in January, there's that. So all the awards will be distributed over the 2 semesters. So if you did receive an award, just know half will be applied to your fall fees and half will be applied to your spring fees. Um, if you have any questions relating to your funding package, the Fung Institute is the place to go. One of the ways some students will help fund their education is by working while studying. So just remember if you do decide to take on any um, positions on campus while or elsewhere while doing the program, that make sure um, you have a lot of flexibility in your schedule because courses are fixed at certain times and there is no moving them. There is no attending remotely or and watching a recording. That sort of thing is not available. You need to be in class at the time class is. Okay? Unless you're sick. We understand that. But in general, there's no excused absences for working. This is a full-time program. So we just want to make that very clear up front. And then I will put in a guide to financing your MEng degree in the chat in a second. Let's continue on. On the Office of the Registrar's website, we'll have the most up-to-date fee schedule. And so you're going to make sure that you don't just look at like graduate programs like MS, like you drill down to the Masters of Engineering so you can see the total cost of fees. And the ones listed on the website right now are for this current year, and usually they are updated in early July for next year, but it will be roughly the same. It probably will have maybe a little bit more in fees just because I feel like all costs increase every year, everywhere. But that's what you can sort of look at. Um, if you find that paying like half of your tuition is a huge burden and would like to break it up into smaller chunks, there is a fee payment plan that you can break it up into 5 different payments throughout the semester. So that's a little bit on fees. I'm gonna hopefully just dig into curriculum and my screen won't pause again. Here we go. Go, Dorian.
Okay. Make sure I'm off. Okay. So the curriculum we have, it sort of breaks up into 2 parts. Our program was actually put together by actually a professor we stole from the Harvard MBA school. Lee, he's here in IUR and business school, but he was running the program until a few years ago, but now he's just being a professor. So what we do is we have some leadership breadth classes and technical depth classes. These are usually taught for a short time, either right before the semester starts, and then right during sort of winter break. There are a couple of weeks in there. And those give you some interesting, important aspects in terms of how it works in industry, because we've discovered that our students often don't know much about industry. So this would help you with leadership and things like that. Oh, I made a mistake. Yeah, the technical depth is more about that's more of your bioengineering type classes. And that's your choice of classes. Our classes at Berkeley are usually 3 or 4 units each. And so we're talking about usually it's like 4 classes or something, and they can be, whoa. Are you playing with that, Joy? Yeah.
No. Go for it.
And so you can take, and we have a number of classes to take. We do have these tracks and stuff, but you can take those classes. And I've set it up in such a way that you can take 1 class outside of bioengineering if you get it approved by me automatically. And then you can always talk to me about classes that you want to take. Especially in engineering, it's not hard for me to approve them. And then you have your capstone experience, which is, just we give you 5 units for that, but that's where you're doing a lot of your work. Okay, now you can switch. So we have these technical concentrations. These are sort of guides. Don't think of them like you have to take all the classes in these. Most people end up in the general BioE and entrepreneurship track, the first one. And really, it's just to sort of give you an idea of which ones you could do that are more focused on what you might be interested in. But you can really take almost any of these classes, any of the classes we offer. And it's useful to try and think about classes you want to take in the beginning. We generally have more graduate classes in the fall than we do in the spring. So you just got to make sure you have those classes. The other thing is we have a couple of classes that are really great. One is taught by Syed Husseini, who was originally at Abbott. He's an adjunct professor on identifying big problems in medicine. And it's very popular, but it's only 2 units. So you got to be a little careful with when you have classes that are 2 units and not 3 or 4. And then we have other classes. Often we have 1 class on entrepreneurship from a guy who started a bunch of companies. And that's also really kind of cool. Okay. So this is an example of our program. So on the left, you see that's our fall semester, and you have engineering leadership, R&D tech management, those sort of things. Then you could take two technical elective classes. And you see, we're assuming are 3 or 4 units, because if you have two of these per semester, you get your 12 units. If you want to take science class, which is I think 252, BioE 252, it's actually, it's not a ton of work. It's really just usually Friday for 2 hours. And it's kind of fun because what SciEd does is bring a bunch of really good researchers, really good doctors who are doing research, often at UCSF, and they talk about big unmet needs in medicine, ranging from let's see which things, hypertension. Often have a talk on dialysis and kidney disease. So they're pretty fun. And it used to be that we'd have a talk and then you'd have to do a project. The class has gotten so popular and large that it was basically you'll end up in a team, and a couple of times in the semester you'll do a presentation of some cool idea you have for helping fix the problem. You get 1 to 2 units for a capstone project. Oh wait, what's that? Oh, that was BioE 252 if you're looking for it. And then you have communications and project management and teaming in the fall. In the spring, again, you have these same sort of things. You have a couple of technical electives, and your capstone project usually is a few more units in that semester. And then and similar sort of translating. So for example, you could take in the fall, you could take our BioMEMS class, 221, which is 4 units, or the basics of drug delivery. It's also very good. On the other, the next semester, you could take molecular biomechanics or macromolecular science and biotech. So, these are sort of the classes you can take. And you can always talk with me if you want to find out whether you have the background for them or what are the prerequisites or that sort of thing. One thing I should tell you is that you don't have to, you can take more classes if you want to. Oh, hi, Joy.
Hello. It stopped
Oh,
on my end again. I'm going to
wait,
do
no,
it
no,
on a
no. I'm
different
going to
one.
share
I'm
because
just
I'm
gonna,
showing off. Share.
you're just gonna show off. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. That's Bodhi. He's about to eat a puppy. This is a corgi puppy that he met who had exactly the same coloring. And little corgi is not sure about Bodhi because Bodhi's so big. So
Okay.
anyway, just found that, so I thought I'd show it to you. Now I can't figure out how to stop sharing. There we are.
That's okay. We don't need that. Okay, we'll go
The one
back.
advice I have for you is because you've paid tuition at Berkeley and stuff, you can take pretty much any class around campus you want to. And I think that's a great idea, especially if you're taking a class outside. You can always take it pass, no pass. And there's a reason I like that is because when I came here, I always thought I could take classes, but because I work here, I can't take a class, no pass. I have to just audit it, and I don't have the focus or time to really, do the homework and stuff. And so I end up ending up in the class and not taking, not really learning the stuff. So this might be your last chance to take all these classes you want. So go ahead and take, you could take some that are pass, no pass, because then it lowers the bar. It's easier to get through. Okay. You cannot do that for a technical elective. They have to be taken for a grade. Okay? These are some examples of you can take a technical elective outside of BioE. One graduate class you're allowed to do, and just check with me, but a lot of it can be like public health, statistics. We have biology classes, things like that. Some of the students like to take classes that are in-house business school, things like that. The one thing I want to warn about is if you don't want to overload your classes too much so you get behind in everything. And if you do start getting behind and you're not going to do well, you want to drop stuff quickly. This is true no matter what school you go to, simply because you don't want to get in a situation where you're so far behind in everything that it's hard for you to survive. Okay. And next slide, what's the next one? Yep. And so here's some places where you can find out what we're teaching and things like that. Any questions? Or you can ask me in the Q&A too.
Yeah, we can take some questions now. Um,
Are there inside? I can't.
yeah, what would be the difference between BioE classes with a CO and ones that don't have a C after it.
Oh, C are cross-listed. So often that means that they're part of mechanical engineering or, material science or things like that. So you can certainly take those.
Yeah.
And
So
if they're full, you can always take it and take it from the other department. Like MSc classes, often the BioE side fills up faster than the material science side.
yeah. So if you register for the MSc side, you're still good.
Mhm.
That's because it's cross-listed. You just need to take the course. And then when do we apply for these classes? Okay, so you will start enrolling in classes for next year in July. So in early July, you will receive like your enrollment day and time on your Cal Central account. And then at that time, you will go in and register for classes.
And sometimes you
So,
might be put on the wait list because sometimes these classes are protected for some of our for other students, especially if they're in a different department. So then we have
mhm.
to play around and see how to get you in it. Or often those spots just open up and you can talk to me about if you're questioning that, if you have problems with that. Okay.
Yeah. So I just put the link in the chat of which classes are slated to be offered next year. You can see if you scroll all the way over, you'll see fall 26 and spring 27. So that's our tentative teaching plan. Um, so that is there available to you. Also, we talked about, um, let me just put in all the links about financing the MEng degree, that document that I just put in the chat. And the last thing that we were talking about
Do we have the
was
list? Do we have the list of
of,
classes that students have taken?
yeah, the proof. Yes, mind reader. Okay, is
Bodhi told me to ask that.
Bodhi did
Yeah.
approved classes. It was just any UC Berkeley, so let me make it so anyone can see that. And that last one is a previously approved electives and popular classes. So you can
Oh,
see outside of the bioengineering department what classes have been approved outside. Guess to
and
note,
you should be able to see fall 2026, by the way.
yeah, is the class schedule available already for fall?
I'm pretty sure it's always usually one semester ahead. I will look at it right now and see.
Yeah, yeah, it's online already. Yeah,
Yep,
fall
fall 2026
2026 is
is there.
online.
Hmm.
And I can put so it's at classes.berkeley.edu. I just put that and answered in your question. And the one thing to note is when you're planning your schedule, so we say in general you need, it works out to about 4 classes within the bioengineering department to reach your 12-unit technical elective requirement, right? Because our courses are 3 to 4 units. Um, yeah, the leadership courses for boot camp are not up yet there, but they will be later on. But you should be able to see the departmental courses.
Those are the ones that are sort of more that you can adjust and change. You will be able to get into one of the classes you will get into the classes at Fung. The only question is you want to sort of jump on it early so you have the best choice of times, I suppose, would be the one thing.
Yeah.
Oh, more about the capstone. I think that's coming up.
Mm,
Do you have anything on capstone?
so the capstone projects, there should be um, a whole session about that. Let me just make sure that they're doing it. But yeah, there should be a whole um, section about the capstone. Let me just go to the new admit website and see when that is.
The cool thing about
It was
capstone
this
is often you're
morning.
on.
It
Mhm.
happened earlier. Did you get to go, Miriam?
Oh, you're right. Send new.
Yeah, I was like, I know there was a whole thing about it.
Oh no, class. It's annoying when class gets in your way. But I'm sure they
Well,
recorded it. And the thing is
yeah,
that it's not like you had to make decisions at that point. It's more, all the stuff will be online. Um, But the thing is that also what's kind of cool is you'll end up on team. You can be on teams with a bunch of different people from different majors, and we find that works really well, and it's also really interesting. And you can do that, and you can work with almost any professor and still do it as a bioengineer. It just means I'll probably be on on the presentation. Bioengineering, for grading the capstone and your advance, we don't have a written test like IEOR. We actually just have a presentation about your research or your capstone project. And we find someone who's, who knows about that sort of stuff, whereas me, and then we will, that's how you get it done. I think mechanical engineering does it this way too, and EECS.
Okay, so I think okay.
I do not know if it's possible to switch to
There
part-time
is
to
no
do a
part-time.
summer, because the question is, when does your summer work term end? Because hopefully it'll end
Yeah.
before we start.
Yeah. We start August 11th or 10th. 10th, I think, is orientation, and the 11th boot camp classes start. So you need to take those, and actually, in order to graduate, there is no option, there is no part-time. Um, so if you have questions about your own personal situation that you just want to like walk through with me so I can answer all of your specific questions so you can make an informed decision about what to do next year, just reach out to me and we can go ahead and set something up. Okay, so now I think it's time for us to do a little getting to know each other, right? I know you have a lot of questions about the program too, but part of this is like this cohort experience. So I will go ahead and pause the recording for now.